What if I told you that John Cena didn't just lose to Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza 2025? He was meant to lose. What if that match wasn't about strength, skill, or even competition, but about something far bigger happening behind the curtain? The lights dimmed, the crowd roared, and the atmosphere at WrestlePalooza 2025 felt like nothing the WWE Universe had seen in years. This wasn't just another main event. This was John Cena, the face of a generation, the man who carried WWE on his back for nearly 2 decades, stepping into the ring against Brock Lesnar, the Beast, the Conqueror, a superstar whose very name sparks fear and chaos. Fans knew they were about to witness history, but what they didn't know was the real reason Cena was about to fall one last time to the most dominant force in wrestling. From the moment Cena walked down that ramp, his energy felt different. He looked determined, but there was a quiet acceptance in his eyes, almost like he knew what was coming. The chants of, "Let's go Cena," mixed with "Cena sucks," shook the arena, but even those polarizing voices couldn't mask the sense that this night wasn't about cheers or boos, it was about closure. Brock Lesnar, on the other hand, entered with the same terrifying presence he always had. No words, no theatrics, just cold, ruthless confidence. And when those two men stood face to face, it was more than a wrestling match. It was a collision of eras. Cena represented everything the WWE had been: hustle, loyalty, respect, while Brock embodied what it had become: raw power, dominance, and unpredictability. The bell rang, and in typical Lesnar fashion, he wasted no time. Suplex after suplex, each one crashing harder than the last, had the audience gasping. Cena fought back with every ounce of strength left in him, hitting shoulder tackles, a 5-knuckle shuffle, and even locking in the STF. For a moment, the crowd truly believed that maybe, just maybe, Cena had one last miracle left in him. But then came the turning point, a brutal F5 that shook the ring. Lesnar didn't just want to win, he wanted to end Cena. As the referee's hand slapped the mat for the 3rd time, the arena erupted. Brock Lesnar stood tall, victorious once again, while Cena lay motionless on the mat. Yet beneath the surface, this wasn't just a scripted ending to a match. There was a hidden story, one the WWE Universe wasn't immediately told. Cena's loss wasn't about who was stronger, faster, or more skilled. It was about legacy, business decisions, and a final chapter being written behind the curtain. So why did John Cena really lose his final singles match? Stick with me, because the shocking truth behind this ending will change how you see both Cena and WWE itself. The moment John Cena lost, millions of fans across the world asked the same question: why? After all, this was the man who headlined WrestleManias, carried the company during its toughest years, and became a household name beyond wrestling. Losing to Brock Lesnar was not just about another notch in the Beast's belt. No, it was about WWE's larger plan, a move that had been in motion long before Cena ever stepped into the ring that night. Behind the curtain, WWE has always operated with one eye on entertainment and the other on business. Every match, every outcome, every storyline, it all serves a greater purpose. And with Cena's final singles match, that purpose was crystal clear. WWE wasn't just booking an ending to his in-ring career, they were cementing a future. Let's start with Lesnar. Brock is more than just an attraction. He's a global name, a crossover star who draws crowds whether you love him or hate him. For WWE, having Lesnar dominate Cena wasn't simply about storytelling. It was about reinforcing Brock as the unstoppable force that could carry main events for years to come. By destroying Cena, Lesnar's reputation grew even larger, giving WWE the marketable monster they needed to headline their biggest shows. But what about Cena? Why let him lose in such a definitive way? The truth is, Cena didn't need the win. His legacy was already carved in stone. From winning 16 world championships to granting more wishes through the Make-A-Wish Foundation than anyone in history, Cena's career had transcended wins and losses. A victory over Brock wouldn't have added much to his story, but a crushing defeat? That told the audience something far more powerful, that Cena's time as the face of WWE had finally, truly ended. This was also about transition. WWE has been carefully shifting focus from its older legends to its younger stars, preparing the next generation to step into the spotlight. Cena losing to Lesnar wasn't just symbolic, it was practical. It created a vacuum, a space for new names to rise while keeping Lesnar's aura intact for future clashes against the rising generation. And let's not forget one more angle: Cena's Hollywood career. By 2025, John Cena had become more than just a wrestler. From blockbuster movies to hit TV shows, his schedule left little room for the grueling life of WWE. The company knew he couldn't stick around forever. By scripting his final singles loss, WWE gave him an exit that was dramatic, memorable, and marketable. The kind of ending that makes fans talk for years. So while the fans in the arena may have seen another Lesnar victory, the reality was much deeper. WWE wasn't just ending a match, they were rewriting their future. And if you thought this was only about Cena and Brock, think again. The ripple effects of this decision reached far beyond the squared circle, touching the very core of WWE's future direction. When John Cena stepped into the ring against Brock Lesnar for what would become his final singles match, it wasn't just about who would win or lose that night. To the fans watching, it looked like another classic clash between two titans. But to those who know how WWE operates, it was clear this was Cena's hidden farewell. From the very beginning of the match, the atmosphere was different. The crowd reactions weren't just cheers or boos, they carried the weight of history. Every punch, every slam, every move seemed to echo with a reminder. This was the last time fans would see John Cena fight like this. It was a farewell disguised as a spectacle, and only the most attentive eyes could catch it. In WWE, passing the torch is never an accident. It's a carefully orchestrated moment, designed to give the fans a story while preparing the company for the future. And that night, Cena passed his torch to Brock Lesnar. Not by words, not by speeches, but through the language of wrestling itself. Think about it. Cena, the hero who overcame every challenge, allowed himself to be dismantled. He didn't fight for a shocking comeback or a dramatic last-minute victory. No, he allowed Lesnar to stand tall, a beast who looked untouchable. That image burned itself into the minds of millions. Cena's loss told the WWE Universe, "My time is up and the future belongs to someone else." But here's where the story gets deeper. Brock Lesnar wasn't just receiving the torch for himself. He became a bridge, a monstrous wall that the next generation would have to climb in order to prove themselves. By passing the torch to Lesnar, Cena wasn't handing the future to one man. He was handing it to the idea of overcoming the impossible. This is why WWE allowed Cena to be crushed so decisively. Fans had to believe that no one could beat Lesnar, and in doing so, every future superstar who dared to step into the ring with Brock would be compared to Cena. Could they succeed where Cena failed? Could they achieve the unthinkable? That's how you build legends. What makes this moment even more fascinating is how subtle it was. WWE never openly said this was Cena's farewell. They never put on a retirement match, never gave him a dramatic goodbye speech. Instead, they let it unfold naturally, hidden in plain sight. And that's why it worked. Fans weren't watching a staged farewell. They were watching history unfold without even realizing it. Years later, when fans look back on this match, it won't just be remembered as Lesnar's domination. It will be remembered as Cena's final gift to WWE, a farewell written not in words, but in sacrifice. When the dust settled on Cena's crushing defeat, fans were left stunned. Some were angry, others were heartbroken, but everyone was asking the same question. Why did it have to be Brock Lesnar? Out of all the superstars in WWE, why was he chosen to dismantle Cena in his final singles match? The answer lies in the era WWE was about to build, an era defined by the Beast. Brock Lesnar was unlike anyone else. From the moment he returned to WWE, his aura was untouchable. He wasn't just another wrestler. He was a spectacle. His background in UFC, his freakish athleticism, and his destructive style made him feel more real than anything else on the card. When Brock stepped into the ring, fans believed what they were watching, and that believability was priceless for WWE. By letting Brock destroy Cena, WWE achieved something bigger than just a shocking ending. They cemented Lesnar as the face of a new era, a man so dominant that even their greatest hero couldn't withstand him. This wasn't about giving Lesnar another notch in his career. It was about making him the immovable mountain that every new superstar would have to climb. Think about the psychology. If Cena, the man who had beaten everyone, couldn't stop Brock, then who could? That single question became the backbone of WWE's storytelling for years. Every match Lesnar had from that point carried extra weight. Whether it was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, or even smaller names who dared to step up, the shadow of Cena's defeat lingered. If they could do what Cena couldn't, then they were truly worthy of being called the future. From a business standpoint, it also made perfect sense. Lesnar was a global attraction. He brought in pay-per-view buys, spiked ticket sales, and guaranteed mainstream media attention. By giving him such a definitive win over Cena, WWE wasn't just telling a story inside the ring, they were selling the spectacle outside of it. It was marketing genius disguised as wrestling drama. And let's not forget the fans. As much as people love to cheer for heroes, they also love to hate unstoppable villains. Lesnar became that villain. Every time he walked to the ring, you could feel the tension in the arena. Fans wanted someone, anyone, to beat him. And that hunger created moments of pure electricity. When Roman finally pinned him, when Seth cashed in Money in the Bank, when smaller stars tried to stand their ground, all of those moments felt bigger, because Cena had been broken first. So why did Lesnar have to win? Because his victory wasn't just about him. It was about shaping the WWE landscape for years to come. Cena's fall wasn't just a loss. It was the foundation of the Beast's era. As fans debated Cena's crushing loss to Brock Lesnar, many wondered if it was all just part of the show. But behind the flashing lights, there was another truth that WWE could not hide. This wasn't just about wrestling. It was about John Cena's next chapter, Hollywood. By 2025, Cena wasn't just a WWE legend. He had already broken into mainstream success, starring in blockbuster films, headlining streaming series, and building a brand that stretched far beyond the squared circle. He was no longer just the face of WWE. He was becoming a global entertainer, much like The Rock before him, and WWE knew it. Letting Cena lose so decisively to Brock wasn't just about passing the torch. It was about freeing him from the ring. WWE couldn't keep its biggest star locked into grueling schedules forever. They had to let him go, but they also had to do it in a way that preserved his legacy. The answer? A definitive loss that fans would never forget. Think about the strategy. If Cena had walked away with another win, his story would have felt incomplete. Fans would always wonder if he had more left in the tank, always hope for one more run. But by letting Lesnar crush him, WWE gave Cena the perfect ending. A clean break, a dramatic exit, and a farewell that fit with his larger-than-life career. And let's be honest, Cena himself needed it. His Hollywood commitments were growing. Acting schedules don't mix well with the unpredictable life of a WWE superstar. The physical toll of wrestling, the travel, the constant training, it wasn't sustainable for a man balancing two careers. A definitive loss gave him the freedom to focus fully on Hollywood without strings pulling him back. But here's the genius of it. Even as Cena left, his story never really ended. WWE kept his name alive, replaying his highlights, referencing his legacy, and leaving the door open for special appearances. This way, fans never felt abandoned. Instead, they felt like Cena was still part of their world, even as he conquered new heights outside it. For WWE, this was the perfect business play. They let Cena exit on a dramatic note, built Lesnar into an unstoppable beast, and still kept Cena's legacy alive for the future. Every time Cena's music hits now, the crowd explodes, not because they expect him to wrestle full-time again, but because they know they're witnessing a rare appearance from a living legend. In the end, Cena's Hollywood transition wasn't a betrayal of wrestling fans. It was the evolution of his career. His loss to Brock wasn't just a defeat. It was a message. Cena's story in WWE may have closed, but his impact on the world had only just begun. The night John Cena lost his final singles match to Brock Lesnar wasn't just another chapter in WWE history. It was a seismic moment that reshaped the future of the company, its stars, and its fans. Long after the bell rang, the aftershocks of that defeat continued to ripple across the wrestling world. For WWE, Cena's exit marked the end of an era. For over 2 decades, he was the backbone of the company. Through injuries, roster changes, and fan backlash, Cena remained loyal, showing up night after night to carry the brand. Losing him full-time meant WWE had to find new faces to build around. Stars like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns suddenly had to step into bigger shoes, becoming the anchors of a post-Cena era. But Brock Lesnar's dominant victory also sent a message. By destroying Cena in such a decisive way, WWE reinforced Lesnar's myth as the ultimate beast. It wasn't just about Brock winning, it was about cementing him as an unstoppable force, a gatekeeper for the next generation. Anyone who wanted to rise to the top would first have to overcome the man who retired John Cena. Fans, meanwhile, were left with mixed emotions. On one hand, it was heartbreaking to watch their hero fall so hard. Cena was the man who told kids to never give up, and for years, he lived up to that mantra. Seeing him dominated by Lesnar felt like a betrayal of everything he stood for. But on the other hand, it was powerful storytelling. Cena didn't just fade away. He went out in unforgettable fashion, with a loss that fans would talk about for decades. And Cena himself? His legacy was only strengthened. By leaving on his back the old wrestling tradition, he showed respect to the business. He didn't demand one last ego-boosting win. Instead, he gave everything he had to the next chapter of WWE, ensuring that his departure meant something bigger than himself. That kind of sacrifice elevated him from superstar to legend. What came next was just as important. Cena's appearances became rarer, but when he did return, whether for a WrestleMania cameo, a Hall of Fame induction, or a surprise promo, the energy was electric. Fans cherished every second, knowing they were witnessing a piece of history. Cena's presence no longer needed victories in the ring. His very name carried weight. The true brilliance of Cena's final loss is that it gave closure while still keeping the door open. Wrestling fans know nothing is ever final, and in WWE, retirements don't always last. The possibility of Cena stepping back into the ring for one last shock return will always keep fans hooked. But even if he never wrestles again, his legacy is secure. He went out on the grandest stage, against one of the most dominant opponents in history, and left a mark that can never be erased. For WWE, the future now rests on how well they use that moment. Will Lesnar's dominance inspire the next breakout star? Will Cena's legacy inspire a new era of wrestlers to rise up? Or will fans forever see that night as the moment the company closed a golden chapter? One thing is certain, Cena's final singles match wasn't just a loss. It was the beginning of a new story, for him, for WWE, and for every fan who will never forget where they were the night John Cena's time finally ran out. And that's the real reason John Cena lost his final singles match to Brock Lesnar. Not as a defeat, but as a sacrifice. His end was WWE's new beginning. But tell me this, do you believe Cena is truly done? Or is the WWE Universe still waiting for one last surprise?